So one of the things that we've been talking about a lot over the last day and a half is, about the innovation in financial services. We've heard a lot from the Fintech companies that have, created all kinds of innovations in recent years, and also today we had the announcement, obviously, from Upgrade. So what we wanted to do is to take a step back and say, let's talk about the innovations happening at the large banks, because this is where it's impacting the most people. So we're really delighted today to have Avid Mojtabai. I hope I got that right. She is the head of payments, virtual solutions, and innovation at Wells Fargo. It's a very large group, 35,000 people in her group, and they are really driving the innovation forward at Wells Fargo. So please join me in welcoming Avid Mojtabai.
Thank you, Peter, and thank you, everyone. It's really a great pleasure to be here with all of you, and delighted to be with so many of my banking and with my Fintech colleagues and many of my Wells Fargo colleagues who I saw earlier in the break in the room. Well, I'm really excited to be here because it's a very important, exciting, pivotal time in banking and in financial services. It's a time of great change and high expectations for our industry and for us at Wells Fargo as well. We have a big commitment to leveraging technology and innovation to make our customers' lives easier. Today I'm going to be sharing with you where we have been, how we are making our customers' lives easier, and how we look to collaborate with all of you in the Fintech industry. I've been at Wells Fargo now for 25 years, and I started my career as a strategic planning consultant. And in my current role as head of payments, virtual solutions, and innovation, we are bringing to market today capabilities that we could have only imagined 25 years ago. In fact, in 1993, when I joined the company, digital was not even in our lexicon. At the time, it was just recently when the first widely used web browser, Mosaic, was rolled out. The web source code was just released in the public domain, and that started the huge wave of innovation that's brought us to where we are today. And I feel very fortunate to have worked at the time for a company, Wells Fargo, that had visionary leaders who saw the potential in the World Wide Web. In 1995, we were the first US bank to offer internet banking. And we were also the first bank to enable secure credit card transactions over the internet. We did that for a company called Virtual Vineyards, now called Wine.com. And just to appreciate how novel that idea was at the time, only 23% of the US population even owned a computer. And 1 in 10 had internet access. And they were using, I don't know if you remember these boxes, these small, frankly, actually large relative to what they are today, but slow dial-up modems. At the time, 42% of the US adults had not even heard about the internet, and 21% more were vague on the idea. But you fast forward today, and the world digital is where the vast majority of us spend the vast majority of our time. In fact, for an average adult, we spend about 4 hours a day just on our smartphones, and we check that 150 times every day. For many of us, probably everyone in this room, it's the first thing that we look at in the morning and the last thing that we look at before we go to bed. And beyond phones, we are increasingly connected to our watches, to our wearables, to our cars, to our TVs, to our smart speakers, and the list keeps growing on. Expectation is by 2020, there would be 30 billion connected devices in the world. And these devices are always on, and we are always on our devices. So we have moved into an era when technology is built into each and every one of our transactions. And this is having a very profound effect in the relationships that consumers have with the companies that they do business and with the businesses. People are not just buying their products and services from businesses. They are sharing a lot of information with companies about themselves, with the expectation that the companies are using that information to make lives easier. and simpler for the customers. And this level of access clearly gives big opportunities for companies to deepen relationships with customers. But with it also comes a huge responsibility on how we use the information and how we manage the customer's information. You know, you could basically say that it's no longer just business anymore. It's personal. And for us in the banking industry, we are working really hard to stay ahead of our customers' expectations, because we know for us to stay relevant, we need to keep up with the pace of innovation that our customers are seeing in their daily lives. When I reflect at the 25 years that I've had at Wells Fargo, we have stayed ahead of so much change over the last many years. In 1993, we had 600 branches, 1,800 ATMs, and we served 3.5 million customers. And today, we serve over 70 million customers. Our physical distribution includes 8,300 branches and physical locations and 13,000 ATMs. That gives us more points of access than Starbucks. In these physical locations, we interact with our customers more than 1.5 billion times a year, and it's growing. And add to that the 500 million times that our customers interact with us via emails and phones, and another 6 billion secure sessions. For some of our customers, digital is frankly the only way that they interact with us. And that's, by the way, across the banking industry. PwC did a study in 2017, and they found that 46% of banking customers are digital only, and that's up from 27% in 2012. At Wells Fargo, our digital customers are a lot more connected with us. In fact, they interact 10 times more than our non-digital customers. And this gives us a much bigger opportunity to engage with them very differently and make each and every interaction very personal. The group that I lead at Wells Fargo, Payments, Virtual Solutions, and Innovation, we created the group about 1.5 years ago, and it's primarily to leverage our payments and our digital assets so that we could reimagine and bring to market the next generation of banking capabilities and experiences. There are a few things that we are focusing on that I wanted to share with you today that would help make our customers' lives easier and make our interactions with our customers more personal. Smarter data, next generation identity management, frictionless payments, transcending channels, and very importantly, our partnership with Fintechs. So let me start with smarter data. We have 375 petabytes of data on our customers' behaviors and preferences. That's a lot of data. And just to put that into perspective for you, 1 petabyte of data would allow us to store the DNA of the entire US population and then clone it 2 times over. So we've always had a lot of data about our customers, and we have used that data in the past to do transactions and help them, drive and live their financial lives. But with big data and with artificial intelligence, we can now put that data into work and make it work much harder and much smarter on behalf of our customers. When I think about years ago, when I used to be a consultant, we used to talk about segments of one and mass customization. But the fact is, when you look back at those times, we had the vision, but we did not have the technology or the tools to make that vision come to life. And what's different is that today, we do have the technology and the tools. We can deliver contextualized, hyper-personalized experiences to each and every one of our customers in the moment, wherever they are. Just imagine a world where you can manage your money with just your voice, or the perfect financing for your dream home just comes to you and finds you. You have intuitive tools at your fingertips that would help you navigate your finances and see a lot further ahead. You could close your business deals just with biometrics. And that's the vision that data and AI can bring to life, and that's exactly what we are building at Wells Fargo. When I look at our processes today, we have been using AI to enhance many of our processes like underwriting and fraud management for many years. In our mobile app today, we use AI so that we could look at our customers' cash flow patterns and to give them relevant, in-the-moment insights and pointers that they could use and act on. AI in the form of virtual assistants are invaluable partners to our team members who are dealing with very complex servicing tasks. And this is just the beginning. Our Artificial Intelligence Center of Excellence is working across the company to identify important customer-centric, customer-focused use cases that we could bring to market. The next area of focus for us that I want to talk about is next generation identity management. When you think about identity management, it's really the core of what banks do because our customers have been trusting banks to protect their assets for a very long time. And identity management is a core component to maintain that trust. But as customers are linking their identities and their financial accounts to more and more applications and devices, identity management has become a lot more complex and a lot more important. Now, add to that the proliferation of large security breaches and the sophistication of cyber criminals, and it becomes imperative for us to continue to advance our identity management capabilities so that we can verify each and every customer at each and every interaction. And we have to do that at scale. When I just think about last year, we had over 8 billion interactions just through our branches, phones, ATMs, and digital. We authorized 9.5 billion credit card and debit card transactions. And we had to establish the identity of the person that we are interacting and we are transacting with every single one of those times. We have been moving away from knowledge-based only authentication, which used to be the only way that we would authenticate our customers, and we are increasingly using biometrics and other forms of advanced authentication like geolocation, device binding technologies, leveraging AI to look at patterns. And all of these, the combination and the integration of all these technologies is making the experience much more simpler and a lot more secure for our customers. Payments and frictionless payments. We all know as consumers and users of technology how technology has reinvented commerce. And very importantly, when customers are doing commerce and they're doing transactions, they no longer want to think about how they're making the payment. They want it to be so integrated and seamless that they don't even have to take additional steps to make that happen. Technology has also accelerated the demise of cash and of checks. In fact, when you look in Europe, there's a race to become the first cash-free society within the European countries. In Sweden, cash accounts for only 2% of all payments, and half of Swedish bank branches are cashless today. The shift in the US is clearly happening slower, but mobile technologies and digital commerce have increased the consumer's demand for simple, fast, and easy money movement capabilities and experiences. And believe it or not, I actually think that banks are best positioned to be the disruptors in this space. Let's use the example of Zelle. It's a bank-owned P2P network. We launched it last June in partnership with a number of other banks. And basically what Zelle does, it allows customers to move money directly between participating bank accounts in real time. So customers don't have to move the money to a different account and then take up to maybe 3 days to move that money back into their bank account. And we know that consumers do value real time. Again, we launched Zelle last year, and in a partial year of launching Zelle, the payment through the Zelle network, payments that went through the Zelle network were $75 billion. Now, to give you a point of reference, Venmo moved last year about $35 billion. Now, beyond facilitating payments, at Wells Fargo, we are also giving customers the ability to see and manage the connections to their payments accounts. Let me ask you to just reflect for a moment and think about if you were not looking at your bank statements today, do you know which companies you have set up an ACH transfer with? And can you name all the e-commerce sites where you have stored your credit card and debit card information? And can you list all the recurring payments that you have tied to your credit and debit cards? Well, if you're a Wells Fargo customer, very soon this year, you would be able to not have to remember any of that and use our control tower, which is going to be integrated into our mobile app to view and also control access to your payment accounts at Wells Fargo. Transcending channels. We have been interacting, and our customers expect us to interact with them in the moment that they need to interact with us, wherever they are, when they need us. And that model is changing the way that we are thinking about channels and distribution. When you go back a couple of decades ago, most convenient for banking used to mean that there's a branch in your neighborhood. And then it was an ATM in the corner, and then a 7/24 access initially through phone and through desktop and online and now through mobile. But convenience to customers now means that we go to where our customers are and we give them choices on how they want to interact with us. And let me give you an example of what we are doing here today, right now. You may have heard earlier this year that Apple announced Apple Business Chat, and they announced Wells Fargo as one of their launch partners. Last month, Wells Fargo, we were one of the first companies to roll out the messaging experience using Apple Business Chat to our customers in a few states. And in those states, our customers can message a Wells Fargo banker using the same messaging app that they use to chat with their friends and family. They start the conversation, for example, if they need to replace a lost debit card or they need to make an account inquiry. Customers would authenticate with Touch ID or Face ID without having to leave the Apple Business Chat conversation. So they're not coming to the Wells Fargo mobile app. It's all happening within the messaging app. And we are also incorporating features like list picker, so customers don't have to type as much information. That's just one example. And there are many, many other examples that we are delivering using APIs as we leverage APIs to bring Wells Fargo capabilities outside the Wells Fargo digital properties. Now, I'm going to spend just a few minutes to talk about how we are bringing all of this technology together. When you think about technologies like AI, advanced authentication, messaging, these are enabling us at scale to create the types of personalized customer experiences that we could have only dreamed about a few years ago. And one example of that is a new capability we are bringing to the market called Greenhouse. Greenhouse is a mobile-first experience, and it basically puts Wells Fargo in the palm of our customers' hands. It helps our customers to take control of their spending and also help them build good spending habits. We've designed the experience primarily for customers who are new to banking, like students, customers who have several income sources, customers who may be paid irregularly, pretty much customers in the gig economy, worker types. We built it to be fun and interactive, and it starts with a very simple and fast account opening experience that's powered by our mobile identity management platform. Once customers, as soon as instantaneously after customers open the account, they can transfer funds into that account real time in the moment, and they could start using the account real time with a digital debit card, with Zelle, with bill pay, and other forms of payments that we have available. Basically, Greenhouse is two accounts that they work together. One is for weekly spending that's tied to a debit card, and the other one is for set-aside money for bills and other expenses. And with every deposit, the customer can allocate the funds of that deposit between the accounts, or our AI engine can provide guidance based on the customer's transaction history. Customers can set daily limits on their debit card, so they're not spending money that they don't want to spend or they don't have to spend. And payments is a core component of the experience. They get reminders about when bills are due or they need to make payments. and they can pay directly within the app right there. They don't need to exit the app. Zelle's also integrated, so they can transfer money to and from almost anyone with a US account, US banking account in the app. With our AI engine, customers can see their spending trends. They could get personalized insight, and they could get reminders so that they would stay on track with their financial goals. Customer service is directly integrated into the app using our messaging capability. I briefly talked about one of the several messaging capabilities that we have. So as you see, we have brought together many of these technologies and smart data so that we could deliver a super personalized experience that gets richer over time for our customers and makes their lives easier. And I'd like to finish by talking about our collaboration with fintechs. When you think about the size and scale of what we do at Wells Fargo and our technology environment, you could think of us as a big tech company. And historically, technology has been a very important enabler for our operations. But today, technology is a lot more than that. It's a differentiator. It's the reason why customers want to do business with Wells Fargo. And with the rapid change of technological change, we believe that fintech collaborations for us is becoming increasingly important. You all challenge us to think differently about how we can use data to creatively provide fast, simple, personalized experiences to our customers. And when I think about banks and fintechs, we absolutely complement one another. And I am convinced that the most innovative solutions would be the product of fintechs and banks working together. So at Wells Fargo, again, we have a belief that fintechs and all of you would be really important for the capabilities that we are bringing to market. And to foster innovation with startups, we are doing that in many different capacities. One of them is through our Wells Fargo Startup Accelerator, which I think one of my colleagues also talked about that in one of the panels today or yesterday. Basically, through the Accelerator, we make investments in early stage companies. But more importantly than our financial support is how we work with these companies to help refine potential breakthrough technologies that they are building either for financial services or for other applications. Today, we have 17 companies in our portfolio, and we continue to add every quarter and every year. And the technology from some of these portfolio companies, as well as from other partners, is what powers some of the experiences that we are delivering that I was sharing with you. So as I reflect on the last 25 years of my life in financial services and how much has happened there and the pace of technology change, I am convinced that there's going to be as much, if not more, change happening in the next 3 to 5 years. And today, again, we just don't need to imagine the future. We have the tools and the technology to bring our imagination to life, which is why it's such an important and pivotal time for all of us in financial services and in technology. I think it's a time of really important and significant change for all of us and for our customers, and a time that there's high expectations, and I know that we could deliver on those high expectations through our collaborations, and really excited about the work that we are and we will continue to do together to make a meaningful difference in our customers' lives. Thank you.